Do you feel like your business is running your life instead of the other way around? I'm Roy Castleman. I built multiple seven-figure companies, worked across continents, and coached high-performing entrepreneurs. But I've also been completely burnt out. At one point, I was barely seeing my daughter, drowning in stress, and one step away from walking away from it all. That's when I made a decision to build a business and a life that works for me. The journey became Elevate 360, a system to help business owners reclaim their time, find their energy again, and get back in control without sacrificing growth. And this podcast, Power Movers, is where I share real stories behind that shift. Each week you'll hear from entrepreneurs, founders, and leaders who've walked through the fire and come out the other side with clarity, courage, and a system that works. If you're ready to build a business that gives you more life instead of taking it away, you're in the right place. Hey, Power Movers. Today I've got a real treat. I'm here with Lee Smith. Lee, I've known for, how long has it been, Lee?
It's a long time. 10
years,
8?
Maybe. Yeah, 10 years. And we've been on a randomly similar but disconnected journey over the time. So I'm pretty excited to talk to Lee about his journey, about his entrepreneurial spirit, where he's been, where he's going, but also about the wellness, about the meditation, about all these other things that I think, really bring us closer to being conscious entrepreneurs. And this is the journey that I'm on at the moment, is how do we actually live the life that we love? And I think you're getting there, Lee. You're getting there. He's just been back from an amazing trip. Maybe he'll tell us about it. Maybe he won't. And
a little bit wild, that one.
Yeah, a little bit wild, but it's really this opportunity that we have as entrepreneurs to change the world. And so, Lee, tell us a little bit about your history, about where you started, and then we'll just roll from there.
God, where did I start? I was probably a disruptive child, I would say, at school. From the age of probably 13, 14, mixing with the wrong crowd. Went from top of my classes in several subjects to probably close to the bottom, and then left school with a few Fs, a few U's, ungradables, and then they didn't want me to come back to the school to do A-levels because I didn't really have a clear path, and they saw me as a bit disruptive. So thankfully, they didn't let me carry on, and I went straight into working for a company called Ratner's at the time, which was 1990, I believe, and then very quickly became assistant manager of the jewelry store. And then Gerald Ratner famously came out and said his jewelry was crap, was made redundant, did about 100 jobs, then ended up in London working for a big law firm, which then led me on to bizarrely learning finance because my uncle was the richest in the family. So I thought, right, let's follow in his footsteps. Very quickly realized that I didn't like the government taking money out of my paycheck, so I became freelance. Set up a few small businesses, one of those being an IT company. That was quite growing nicely, but I was very frustrated. So then I learned mergers and acquisitions, and then that was really the turning point of my life, really, because I was 40 years old. I finally found something that felt right, and I felt was going to get me to where I kind of ultimately wanted to be, which was someone who had freedom of choice and options.
Yeah.
Which has kind of led me, to a long journey of where I am today.
Amazing. And yeah, just for the people that don't know, I also run IT companies. I have 3 of them at the moment, and very similarly, I was at a situation where the IT companies were my 14-hour days, 7 days a week. And lost that freedom of choice, lost that, the reason I was there, was to really make a difference in people's lives. And the reason that I ended up being there was just to survive, and that survival just didn't feel right. So that's taken me on that journey, and yeah, I'm sure I know you've had those 14-hour days as well.
My God, yeah, it was probably similar, right? We start our own business, so we have freedom, and then your freedom actually gets taken away by the business. You get consumed by it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a much better operator than me, so you've learned how to handle these things.
I think we're always learning, right? We're always learning.
Well,
So
no, we are definitely learning, but it took me way too long to realize I was actually a very poor operator, and that it wasn't that definitely wasn't my skill set. I liked kind of creating stuff, creating names, logos, and structures, and the big kind of vision. I needed to team up with people that are really good at the kind of ops.
yeah.
Yeah, which is where I am today. I'm so lucky to be surrounded by really good people.
And I think that's it. I mean, one of the business operating system things that I coach now is understanding if you're a visionary, understanding if you're an integrator, yeah, and then you're doing what you do well. And I'm a visionary as well. I love the creation part of it. I love bringing new things in and new ideas. And I'm not that good at operating. I am able to put the people in to do that, because I understand their process. So, it's a lesson we need to learn. What are we good at? Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And yeah, I asked that kind of question too far down the track, and it was kind of by accident, I guess. I was trying to force myself to be a good operator, and I realized this doesn't feel right.
Yeah, doesn't fit. Doesn't fit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been inspiring watching your journey as well, and seeing
Oh,
how you've managed to control your kind of IT companies, and yeah, I've managed to control mine just by luckily finding someone really, really good that loves doing it.
yeah, and in some respect, that's what I've done as well, right? Yeah, it's just we were lucky in 2017, I think it was, to go on the EOS journey, so entrepreneurial operating system. And that was Alex actually brought that into us and said, "This is a good idea. My brother's doing it." So we spent a lot of money, 100K, on getting this coach in, and I think that was been one of my bigger lessons. And I actually learned it through skydiving that you have to be coachable, right? If you when you realize you're coachable, then you can take the shortcuts from other people.
Yes.
They've made the mistakes, and they've stubbed their toes and tripped over the logs and all those things. And you can decide to learn those lessons yourself, which take a long time, right? Or you can decide to go and find the people that have done it. So I think that's a massive lesson for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And surprising how few people like investing or put that time, effort, and more importantly, the finance behind investing in yourself. It's the best asset you can ever invest in, right?
For sure. Yeah, I'm actually off this after this call to go up north to Leeds to go and meet one of my clients is a GP, a functional medicine doctor, but also a biohacker. And I'm helping him set up a biohacking clinic in Leeds where he can bring all of his skills to the market. And so we're going to go up and get some treatments tomorrow and just get some recordings. And this is the fun for me. It's just taking somebody's idea that's going to change the world. And then bringing that to life and putting these structures in the back of it. And and then AI, right? AI. What about AI? Well,
Wow. Yes. Yeah. Again, you're integrating this really, really well, the AI, and yeah, I'm using it every day, and it's powerful.
yeah.
But there's so much you can do with it, and there's so many tools, so you can go down this path and get completely swamped by it.
And I've spent 2.5 years deep in it. Spent a ton of money and learned a bunch of things that I need to know. And I think that's one of the lessons as well, right?
Yes.
What's the business function you're trying to fix, right? Because if you just go off and do a whole bunch of stuff, then you end up with a whole bunch of knowledge that you can't use.
Yes.
But what is the marketing function you're trying to fix? What is the sales function you're trying to fix? What is the operation function you're trying to fix? And if you can really work out what you're trying to fix and then use AI to do that, yeah, also a massive shortcut, huh? Massive shortcut.
Yeah, even from the most simplest level, what do I spend most of my time doing that maybe AI can help save me lots of time? That's the kind of simplest way I use it.
Yeah, for sure. So let's kind of go back a bit more to the personal wellness journey and the understanding. It was really strange. We hadn't spoken for a long time, and we got on a call, and suddenly we're doing a whole bunch of the same things.
Yes.
and
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, have you thought about breathwork? Oh, yeah. Have you thought about cold? Oh, yeah. And yeah, tell me your journey into the personal wellness kind of space, because obviously the AI is so good at giving you some time back, right? And I
Yes.
think as entrepreneurs, what we are really bad at or often really bad at, is looking after ourselves. We spend so much. Yeah, I liken the journey to almost to having a child, right? And my daughter's 21 years old now, and she's going through that whole journey of life, and you start off and you have a child, and then the first few years are really detailed, and you really have to be present, and then they get to teenage years, and if you don't give them the right tools to be able to go into the world and be themselves, then they really are stuck to you. And it's kind of the same as a business, really. You build your business, and suddenly you become so the business becomes so dependent on you being there that you can't do anything else. You just have to put all your energy into it all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and until you upskill yourself and you upskill everything so that the business can run by itself. I mean, you're in mergers and acquisitions now, and you see it all the time, I'm sure.
Oh, massively. The best thing that ever happened to me was removing myself out of my own business.
Yeah,
It was the most beautiful thing. And the more I tried to delve in and tinker it, the more I was screwing things up. So I was like, hey, right, that's it. I'm completely removed. And in fact, I'm blocked now which is great. So I love it. It's the most freeing thing.
yeah,
Um, but it's surprising how few people have actually got to that stage. Even eight-figure businesses I come across, they're still deeply entrenched.
yeah. And it's difficult. It's not easy, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is this emotional attachment that we have. Right, and you really get so emotionally attached, and that shows itself in a bit of a strange way quite often. Yeah, you try and hold on to something so tight that you never let it grow. You never let it do well by itself. And when you get to the point of actually, okay, I now want to sell the business, then you have, I mean, I was offered a lot of money at one stage for my businesses, and but I had to stay there for 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what's the point of that then, right? Yeah, and that was my wake up call. That was 2018 was my wake up call. It's like, okay, unless I do something and change it, and we'd started the process already, which was quite helpful, and that's so freeing, right? You build it, you get it up to a stage, things are working, the revenue's coming in, the money's coming in, the people are there, and you trust them to do what they need to do, and you have the checks and balances in places. I spend what 5 hours a week now. Just on meetings. Wednesday is my work day on the IT companies, and I have a great team doing great things, and yes, and life is good from that point of view. Now I can focus on something else, and but now I go in, I build all the power with the same mindset and understanding. It's okay. Now we have AI on top of that. So tell me a bit more about coming back to the wellness side. What's been your evolution into kind of looking after yourself and learning how to love yourself again?
Yeah, I think even from teenage years, I was fascinated by health. Probably because my father, he was a big, strong guy in construction. He'd wake up 5 a.m., do push-ups, sit-ups, and I would do it with him. So I had this kind of grounding of being healthy, and I'd have charts on the wall with vitamins, that kind of stuff. But then you lose your way as you do. The biggest breakthrough for me was Tony Robbins in 2012. I was in a really, really dark place in my life.
Mhm.
And then I was crying out for help. I was kind of begging the universe, show me how I get out of my shit situation. Came
Yeah,
across Tony Robbins, April 2012, and joined 10,000 other people at one of his events, Unleash the Power Within. And that, without a doubt, was the catalyst of a complete health transformation. That was the last month I'd had a fast food burger. That was the last time I'd ever gone into a McDonald's, was April 2012,
wow.
before Tony Robbins. And from then on, I learned NLP, meditation, alkaline diet. I was very strict vegan for probably 10 years.
Okay.
And now I've kind of gone full circle, and now I eat what I think is as clean as possible. So if it's meat, it's from the best source as possible. So I do eat meat again, actually quite a lot. So yeah, that was the catalyst for me, and now I'm all over it. I have red light therapy, infrared saunas, as we're meeting up next week. We're quite aligned on this, and I've surrounded myself with people who are in biohacking and health as well. I just went away to Peru, and that was with a lot of health people, physiotherapists and people with all kinds of tools, and actually came away from that trip with a couple of new products.
Okay. What were those? Tell me.
I've got this device called Kinian, which is like a red light therapy device.
Okay.
It's a portable USB charging device. I haven't got it right to hand, but you strap it on any part of your body, and it does red light. Because I've got some muscle pain from the gym where I've been doing weights, so you just kind of strap it on for 15 minutes, and you can put it anywhere on your body. So that's quite a nice device, and it's got lots of science backing it up as well.
Yeah, I've got my red light therapy here. So this morning when we got up and did the breath work and meditation, I do that with red light there as well.
I love it.
Yeah. And methylene blue. Yeah, take the methylene blue before your red light. And there's just, I think, we live in such a like you say, fast food, junk food, sugar, all these things and one of the so underrated things that business owners don't understand is that if you don't have the right amount of energy and the right amount of focus in the day, you can't do as well. So it's a direct hit on profit, right?
Yeah, it's the base foundation, right? Your energy levels and your health is everything. It affects your relationships, your business.
Yeah. And the more you go through this process of just trying to push harder and push harder and push harder, the more you live in sympathetic mode. Yeah, and we talk about sympathetic and parasympathetic mode. I was actually teaching yesterday at Cranfield University, and I was teaching breathwork to the high performance business course, which I've been doing for 3 or 4 years now. So every 6 months or so they have this course that's run. And it's astounding to me still how few people harness the power of the breath, right? It's fundamentally changed my life. It brought me back from the brink of suicide. I was in a really bad place in 2021, and I was 49 years old and I learned how to breathe, right? And you for 5 weeks you can not eat and then you'll die. For 5 days, you cannot drink and then you'll die. And for 5 minutes, you cannot breathe and you die. But we know what a good diet is and we know what good drinking is. But do we know what good breathing is? And it's just so powerful in bringing you back into sympathetic mode, parasympathetic mode. And I talk quite a lot about this, the living in sympathetic and understanding, what that does to you. And humans as a species, within the animal kingdom are the only animal that have a thought, and that thought puts them into sympathetic mode. Right. So you think about an argument you had, you think about an accident you nearly had, you think about something, and your mind creates all those chemicals again. And your mind and body don't know whether you're in the event or whether you're living thinking about the event.
Yep.
And the more we think about it, the more we go through thinking about it, the more we stay in it. And from the sympathetic mode, you can't create, you can't rest, you can't digest, you can't do these things. And then you get sick. Cancer, blood pressure, all these things come from being in sympathetic mode more than we should.
Yes, yeah, you're much more advanced when it comes to the breathing side of things. I use meditation, which I guess obviously you're utilizing breathing there, pranayama, things like that. But I'm looking forward to learning some of your breathing techniques actually.
We'll see
but meditation has been the lifesaver for me, just to get me out of my own mind.
What meditations have you been doing?
So what I learned in I think it was 2013, again, fueled by Tony Robbins, it was transcendental meditation.
Yeah.
Actually, I absolutely loved. So I was running the IT company full time, and in the evenings I was doing mergers and acquisitions. So I was reaching out to companies, seeing if I could acquire them. And it was crazy. I was driving all over from the south of England. I was buying companies across Midlands. So I was driving up and down the country, running a business and buying businesses. It was super stressful, but I would pull over I can vividly remember this. I'd pulled over just off the M25 service station and got into a 20-minute meditation. And after that 20 minutes, when I opened my eyes, I could have been absolutely anywhere. I could have been on a beach, in a forest. So coming out of 20-minute meditation and being in the craziness of the M25, it was like, oh my God, I need to do this more. And since then, I've just dedicated myself to doing different versions. And obviously now we talked about Joe Dispenza a couple of weeks ago.
Maybe you should come and join us in Cancun in February.
Interesting. I'm actually going to Cancun in February to renew my Mexican residency.
Well, there we go. We'll get the details together. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a 7-day retreat, yeah, in Cancun. So, yeah.
That's fascinating timing. Because I need to
You
be
know,
there for 7 to 10 days anyway to renew my residency. So
yeah. Well, we'll chat after this.
yeah,
So,
perfect.
yeah, yeah. I travel a lot, and as you know, you see me all over socials and stuff. And just got back from 10 days in Egypt, which was amazing, really good. And yeah, having the freedom to be able to work remotely, to have confidence that your team are doing things correctly, yeah, have confidence that you have the AI tools in place that you can be more efficient and effective. It's just such a blessing. I'm so grateful for that one. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's really something that yeah, there's access to everybody. Everyone has access to it. Yeah, it's just how do you get enough time in your day to understand what you can do? Because once you understand what you can do, then you can start doing, right? So,
Yeah, it's a decision, isn't it? It's just deciding. It's just deciding that's the lifestyle you're going to have. I mean, there's people I know, they're running multiple businesses. I've got 4 companies now. And like I say, I just went away and I was worried I'd have no phone signal and nothing happened. Everything happened without me and probably better without me, to be honest.
yeah. Same story. I got to Egypt the day before we left for Egypt. Yeah, somebody sent in the chat. There were 8 of us, or 9 of us, and we spent time on a boat. And somebody said, "Oh, what's the deal with the signal?" And it's like, "No signal. You don't have signal. Sorry, you're in the middle of the Red Sea." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And yeah, then I got there, and my mobile signal wasn't working well anyway. So I've literally had a 8-day digital detox, which was super
And
cool.
how beautiful is it without the notifications and all the alerts? It was the best feeling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you first of all have to go through the 2 days of what am I missing, right?
Yeah.
And then the world goes on without you, right?
Yeah, I thought I was actually really good with my phone because I'm surprised how many people actually keep their phone on. There was one guy who I went away with, and I think one of the nights we had to share rooms, and he's like probably most people. He kept his phone on, so it was vibrating throughout the night when he'd get a message, and I'm like, why don't you just turn your phone off? Every single night without fail, my phone goes on airplane mode and sleep mode, so nothing. There's no beeps, no. And most people, I think, live like this. They keep their phone on.
Yeah.
They have undisturbed to sleep, and more importantly, they're getting EMF toxicity in their body, and that shocks me.
Yeah. It's amazing how we just get used to the way things are, right?
Yeah,
And then we don't realize there is another way. Yeah. I mean, it's this piece as well of money and yeah, I love Joe Dispenza's way of thinking about this, and yeah, it's so powerful. If you have an abundant way of thinking, abundance comes to you. Yeah, if you're grateful, yeah, if you're like, okay, thank you, universe, for all these things, then the abundance comes to you. But as soon as okay, I need to make money, I need to save money, I need to save for my pension, I need to do this, Yeah, you're always chasing, and then it runs away from you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just something that has come to me over the last 3 or 4 years. That the more you're accepting that, okay, yeah, we're only here for a short amount of time, right? And yeah, I really strongly believe that if you don't live your life every day, if you don't love your life, then why bother, right? Yeah, yeah. I was in a situation of working. Yeah, luckily I skydived. That's probably been my main saving grace, because I still got to travel, and I still had those times off. And but even then, it was go jump, come down, look at the phone, answer an email, make a call, go back and jump again. And this trip was actually about freediving. So we went freediving with dolphins and sharks and other amazing things, but just without that interruption between, just so much different there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. You find you have the richness of the experience when there was zero distractions.
Yeah.
That's what I found. Yeah, this 10 days is I would classify as the best and most meaningful experience I've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was aided by the fact that I made sure my phone was completely off for long periods of time. And it really added to the richness and of the experience.
For sure.
Because in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, is there some alert going to go off or some vibration? And it was really freeing. And I've learned that I actually need to do a lot more of this. Get back into nature and just get away from having too much tech. Because we're in the IT game. we love our gadgets, but there was people on this retreat. We're doing deep meditations and plant medicines, and they had their whoops on, they had their watches, and they were worried about their heart rates and monitoring stuff. I was like, no, just strip it all, strip it
Yeah,
all.
you love it. Yeah, and I think we're moving into this space more now. I think 2026 we're going to see a lot more, people disconnecting, or people kind of disconnecting from tech and reconnecting with people and reconnecting with nature. And yeah, I think that's where the power is going to go. Because as we build into this AI space, where we'll talk a bit more about AI, as we build into this AI space where we are able to step back a little bit, and we are able to hand over some of the functions and the more mundane things, that'll give us more time, to be able to connect again, and to be able to find our roots as humans, and the human connection, and dig into that. And I think that's going to be really powerful and beautiful to see. And it's how do we as a society move towards that, without too much of a mess along the way. There's going to be a mess, right? There's going to be a mess, and then there's going to be,
Unfortunately.
and the advice that I've got for people is just embrace AI now, because there's still so few people using it in any meaningful way. Right? And when we finish this podcast, I take the recording, I dump it into a Google folder, and it automates all the way through to posting. Right, I've got to do maybe 10 minutes of editing just to take away my ums and my ahs, and then I pop that up and off it goes. And that would have taken me an hour and a half before.
At least, right?
Yeah. So just being able to shortcut the things that you don't want to do, so that you have more time to do the things you do want to do. How do you bring more human into the world? How do you bring more of connection into the world? These are the things that I think that are going to be important. And from a company point of view, the companies that, I'm speaking to so many people or so many companies at the moment and saying, okay, well, what would it be like if instead of your team working 8 or 9 hours a day, and then working 3 hours more because they didn't have enough time to do their job, and instead of them doing that, you automate it and you let them work for 4 hours a day. Right. And this is just such a mind shift that feels so foreign to us, but this is where we're going. Right.
Yeah, I hope so. And I like your thought about more people like connecting and getting together. That's something I really hope. And I do see a lot more people inquiring about kind of trips and retreats and doing more kind of yoga and stillness. So it's really encouraging.
Yeah.
Because the world is in such a wild like place with so much unrest across
Yeah.
the globe.
I had a really interesting podcast yesterday with a chap who's strangely also in tech and in AI, but he's built an app called Keyflow. It's a KI Flow. And this app is all about, dealing with the stress of the world. And how do you deal with stress? How do you understand what your stress comes from? And he made an interesting point, which was around what we think people expect us to do, causes us so much stress. I expect I expect to perform like this. And therefore, if I'm not performing like this, the world's going to see me in a different way, or my team or my partner or my boss is going to see me in a different way, and therefore I put stress on myself. And his app is all about understanding what's causing me stress. He's also been meditating for 60 or 70 years. He's really quite an inspiring guy. So I think there's going to be a lot of turmoil, but in that turmoil, there's also a lot of opportunity for business owners. And there's this piece of how do we connect with nature? How do we connect with ourselves? How do we connect with other people? That's going to be a powerful play. Yeah, the vacation space, the holiday space, the space where we're going out and seeing the world. What a unique place we live in now, right? In terms of time, we can travel. The costs aren't too bad, and if we're not grabbing onto the entire need to, I need to store money all the time. I need to have money all the time so that I can have a pension that's big. I really,
It's living life now.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever told you, but when I was 19 years old, I was run over by a drunken driver.
No.
And I had an argument with my partner and ended up, full of testosterone. I just left and, middle of the night, I was hitchhiking on the motorway and, heard a noise, turned around, and the Mercedes-Benz, the owner, had fallen asleep. And he kind of literally broke my leg in two places. My head went through his windscreen, my arm went around, and I was flung into the middle of the road. And very, very luckily at that point, the two people had seen it happening, and they came and they stood at the top, and they moved me, so I was on the white line, and cars were zipping past, and they were standing, protecting me. But I was laying there. I didn't pass out. I was laying there in all sorts of pain, thinking that was it. And the only thing that I remember from the time was the regret I had for the things I hadn't done.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was just such a turning point. I was so grateful for that
And at
time.
19 as well.
Yeah, so I was so grateful for that experience, because it just meant that now when I want to do something, I want to go to that place, so I book it. Yeah, and then I figure out how I'm going to get there and how I'm going to get the time off, and it's led to a lot of rich experiences and just doing things, and just having the opportunity to live life as much as you can. And by the time I got to 2017, where I was just working so hard with these two IT companies, and and things was, it's kind of like your world starts shrinking to only be in the space where you're like, okay, this is all I can focus on.
Yeah.
Then I think you need to realize that you're doing something wrong, right? So
Yeah, that's a beautiful story actually, and I think it is balanced, because you do need the money to be able to do things, but it's, if you go into it with the mindset of you don't want to be controlled by it, okay, you need money, but you don't be controlled by it. You can set it up in the right way, like using AI tools, like the way you're using AI, which I'm really fascinating to learn more about next week. Is how can you build it right in the first place, so you have that kind of freedom as well.
yeah.
That's really important.
And I think people are looking to AI as the panacea of all things, and we have to keep our thought leadership, right? And this is so important. We have to use AI to help us shortcut, but also keep thought leadership in what we're doing, so that we're keeping the human in. Right? If you just leave it all to the AI, then okay, yeah, you're going to get an AI output, which could be anything. Yeah, but if you go in with your own idea and you know what it is and you know what you need out of it, and you keep on bringing it back on track again, then you can actually, 10 times your thoughts and your processes and your ideas, and get the best out of them. So it's
Yeah,
an
I don't know if you've seen this as well, but I think I find that customers are crying out for much more of a personal human touch right now.
yeah, and that's going to keep on growing. It's going to keep on, it's going to keep on increasing, and I think it's where do you have that human touch, right? Yeah, you have that human touch possible when you have the time to do it.
Yes, yes, yes. So the bits and pieces in the background, they can all be kind of done wearing away, but
Yeah,
the communication and the touch points. People want that
yeah, yeah,
human to human
yeah.
contact, which is where you have to strike that balance.
And yeah, that's it. It's a balance. It's a play that we have to get to. It's an understanding of yeah. I mean, I've been blessed in the fact that I've always known I can make money. Yeah, and I'm sure you're the same. And this I'll always be able to make money, right? And yeah, I think from that perspective, from that outlook, it means that I don't worry about that. Yeah, and so many people spend so much time worrying about that they lose sight of what's actually important, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we are in quite a fortunate situation,
Hmm.
you and I, but there are people really struggling right now, and I can see it. I mean, the UK in particular is a really difficult place right now. If you
Right.
haven't got a business, if you haven't got control of your life,
Hmm.
it is difficult. It is really difficult.
Yeah.
There's lots of people I know that own businesses. They're still struggling themselves.
Yeah. And yeah, I think we'll go through the breathwork next week and really give you my morning routine that I've mentioned before. Breathwork, meditation, exercise, sauna, cold exposure. That's just those things have all come about each for their own power, and working out your own whatever works for you. I mean, a lot of people don't want to jump in a cold tub. But working out what works for you, to bring you back to the moment, to actually, we spend our energy for the day, and we only have so much energy in the day, and we end up
Yeah.
spending our energy in the future so much because we're worried about everything. So we can't spend it today, or we spend it, in the past. Depression comes from the past, and anxiety comes from the future.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
yeah. So how do you maintain that? How do you manage that? How do you bring, you bring your focus down to now? Because when you can live in the moment, that's when you get your power, right? That's when you get
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Yeah, I love my morning routine, so I'm really excited to share your morning routine and see how I can maybe tweak what I'm doing at the moment.
And let's dig into that subject, plant medicine, shall we?
Let's do
Gary,
it. Let's
yeah,
do it.
and yeah. So I've dabbled a fair amount of mushrooms, first of all it was just the chaga kind of the ones that are allowed to, and then of late the psilocybin side of it, and I think the research that's coming out now about psilocybin is just fascinating, right? And,
Yes.
the meditation piece with Joe Dispenza, he talks about how when you are able to get into the right state, your brain creates the chemicals that you need. Your brain can create DMT and take you where you need to be. And recently I went on a plant medicine retreat as well, and there's another one later in the month. And this, macrodose of psilocybin. You go and you do that and you have your experience in that, and it's beautiful or it's scary or it's whatever it is. And I think they're more beautiful than scary. But you come out of it, and for me, then it's just 5, 6, 7 weeks of just real peace with yourself. What have you found on your journey?
Yeah, same thing. I started off with, I'm always fascinated by nootropics anyway. So my main go-to uh legal mushrooms in the UK would be lion's mane and cordyceps.
Yeah.
Obviously lion's mane for the focus, and cordyceps especially for when I'm doing gym routines. But I can't remember when I had my first psilocybin experience. I think it was 2019.
Okay.
I think it was 2019, and oh my God, as you described, it completely strips your ego away. And I'm someone that likes their kind of five-star kind of hotels, really nice, clean kind of stuff. But what I realized is after I took psilocybin mushroom, like a proper dose, I was so connected to nature. On
Yeah.
this particular occasion, I was in Ibiza and I was out in nature, just two of us underneath the trees.
Yeah.
And it wasn't so much tree hugging, but I just felt a real connection with nature.
Yeah.
And since then, I've had probably eight or nine really deep experiences. And every single time I take it, it's telling me to get more people to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why we were saying when we started the call, I've now had an epiphany while I was in Peru doing a very intense retreat. It actually told me to go and build my own retreat center in Europe. So which is now my mission.
I'm gonna join you on that, and we're gonna do something. I've decided. So,
Yes. There's yeah, we've got so many people around us
yeah.
that are interested in this, and I can see it exploding.
And this it's very much, yeah, it's this experience of bringing us back into the moment of actually, yeah, it's a the thing I love about psilocybin particularly, and yeah, I haven't done the ayahuasca and the other things as yet. I will. The thing I love about the psilocybin is it calls to you when you need it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not like the other drugs that it's not alcohol, it's not smoking, it's not cocaine, it's not these things where it becomes a weekly thing. It's this thing that, okay, it's time now, and you go and have an experience. And, that might be, for whatever reason, that there is a reason for it. And, your brain works differently after you've had that experience.
Oh, massively. You must have seen the brain scans
Yeah.
of how much it lights up your brain. I mean, there's so much science around it. The only reason I think it's classified as a class A drug is because they're waiting to synthesize it so they can then I know for a fact John Hopkins, you may know this, John Hopkins University are researching it. They're trying to synthesize it so that they can then sell it. And
Yeah.
there's so many proven studies on it and what it does for depression.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
addictive. It cures people from addictions.
Yeah.
It's a
And now,
very
now that
intelligent.
in the States, you've got, I think, Oregon and Washington, D.C., on now, you can be a therapist and do this. And I'm actually working with a lady at the moment. One of my clients is, an amazing kind of energy healer, and she works with psilocybin. And she does these retreats. She does, particularly about trauma release and understanding
Yes.
how to release trauma. And she's amazing lady. So there's this call for us to come back to. I mean, we've had these things in our time. I mean, cannabis, for example, has been changed so much now by the growing it and all the rest of it. But as a medicine, right, cannabis is great. It's great for cancer. It's great for all sorts of things if you do it in the right way. And now the States, I think they've gone the other way. Now you can literally just go into any kind of, any
It's
shop, and
very open.
it's and everyone does. And I think lost the path slightly in terms of the medicinal side of it. But a friend of mine had cancer in 2008, and we used cannabis to, in 3 months, he went from having 8 massive tumors in his stomach to having none. Right. And that just kind of opened my eyes to it. I started one of my many companies was a hemp business, hemp to wellness. And we ran that for a number of years. And just it was bad timing because at that stage hemp wasn't considered legal. Or it's always been legal, but if you try to post an advert on Facebook, my Facebook account got banned because it was hemp. And so it's a fascinating what we can get to and how we can get there. If we are just a little bit open to having these experiences.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more people inquiring about it for sure. Even people who run yoga retreats, they are kind of sort of delving into that side of things. I know somebody who runs lots of yoga retreats, and they're very, very interested in getting their customer base introduced to the medicine side.
Yeah. No, I've been microdosing as well with psilocybin, and one of the things that I find as an entrepreneur is, I have 7 or 10 roads open every morning. Right, yeah, and the brain's going on with them, and when I microdose, that comes down to one road. Yeah, it literally brings everything in, and I'm like, okay, now I have a focus. Now I know where I'm going. So it's fascinating to see this, and I think ideally what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to that state naturally, right? And then being in that, and meditation is amazing for that. The breathwork is amazing for that. Yeah, but then there's the reality of life, the life we live, right? Yeah, and sometimes a little bit of assistance to get there is not a bad thing. So
Yeah, they're all tools, right? We live in
yeah,
a highly distracted world. Phones do control us to quite a high degree. Even people that are conscious and kind of aware of things, we do get controlled by it. So these are all tools that bring us back to nature.
yeah,
At the end of the day, psilocybin is made from cow dung essentially, and it's a fascinating, very highly intelligent substance.
yeah. One of the guys I'm working with, Andrew, also fascinating guy. Him and a group of people from Sweden are just creating a company called Mycelium Hub. And Mycelium Hub is conceptually a communication space for business owners where they can communicate in the same way that Mycelium does. And being able to, I mean, I don't know if have you seen the various movies from Paul Stamets? And
Oh, Paul Stamets is amazing. Yeah.
and just how this whole network of mycelium actually connects everything, connects trees, and there's communication that happens, and so we can learn so much from nature, and we can learn so much from these amazing plants that are out there. So
Yeah, he said that's the original World Wide Web, but it's just kind of underground. I mean, it's a fascinating subject. I highly recommend his documentaries to people.
Fantastic.
The Stamets stack.
Yeah, and fantastic fungi, another great.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, as we'll do this again in a few months and just see where we're going, and we'll work out where the retreat center is and how far we are with it. What would you say? Just thinking about as business owners at the moment, you're talking a lot to people, and you're doing M&As. Just let's talk about coming back into the real world. Just before we close up, what are you seeing at the moment, and how are you doing things?
So myself our family, we are moving out of the UK in the next 3 months. So I'm consciously getting myself organized for that moment. So I'm reorganizing my companies now, where I'm shuffling them around so I can make all my employees owners. Because we talk about this conscious living, and I post a lot on social media, and I've come to the realization is I keep posting saying you need to be an owner, you need to be an owner. And while I was out in Peru, I was thinking about this and thinking, well, if my employees read this, they'll be thinking, well, why the hell am I working for you? So I've come full circle now, where I'm going to create structures where employees and all of my businesses do become owners, because I think that's leaving a legacy. So where am I now? So I've got offers out on two IT companies, 2 offers proceeding, and then I'm building a group in the HVAC sector.
Okay.
Just trying to look after all of the teams around me. So it's gone much bigger than myself now. I'm trying to look after all my employees, all my operational teams.
Yeah.
So I can leave the country and then in the know that good people are being looked after, and then we can use those funds to then go and build the retreat, which will then have a really positive impact on people and the planet. I've always wondered how I can make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this realization in Peru has actually given me the answer I've been looking for.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Yes, I'm trying to bring in
Goosebumps.
business. Yeah, so it's really exciting time at the moment.
Yeah, great. Well, yeah, let's as I say, let's wrap it up there, and then yeah, what would be a one bit of advice for business owners is going forward? What should they be thinking about in terms of themselves? Yeah, how can they help themselves?
Oh my God. Um, there's a whole mixture, and I think you've got that great mixture. So I'm good at buying businesses and helping people scale and get time, location, and wealth freedom. You've got the kind of health thing down, and I think you have to tackle it multi-pronged. You need to focus on your health, meditation, gym, spa, breath work, which is your kind of your area as well. Leverage the power of AI, so you do reclaim your time back. And more importantly, you need to earn money for freedom, especially if you're living in the UK, which is where I love mergers and acquisitions. But you've learned how to scale using AI.
Yeah.
So it's all of the above.
Yeah. And just I think one last word from me, just learn, trust, and do. You can't sit on the fence. You have to actually take a decision and move forward.
That is the most important thing right now, and I think we've got a window of 4 years, maybe 5 if we're lucky, with AI and robotics coming. People need to take action. You can't sit on the fence.
I would have given it 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just moving. So every new thing I see is just such a leap forward. Right, it's just such a leap forward, and the uptake of AI that I'm seeing at the moment is minuscule compared to what it could be. Right, so dig into it and see from there. Lee, thanks so much for joining me, and I'm
Absolute pleasure.
look forward to seeing you next week and taking you through some other bits and pieces, and let's catch up in a couple of months.
Love it, Roy. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Power Movers, the podcast from All the Power, where our mission is to help business owners reclaim their time, reset their energy, and live the life they love. If this episode sparked something for you, your next step is simple. Take the fit check at allthepower.co.uk. It's a short clarity tool that helps you see where you are, what's getting in the way, and what might be possible if you have the right system. When you're ready, come and join the tribe. Power Movers start with our signature framework called Elevate 360, a system built to help you escape survival mode, create structure, and move forward with power. Just remember, everything we share here is based on real stories, experience, and frameworks. It's not personal business advice. Always speak to a coach or advisor before making big decisions. Because in the end, it's about more than business. It's about building a life that you actually love. I'm Roy Castleman, and I'll see you in the next episode.